Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So I thought I'd come back and do a follow-up to my last video. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's called Starting Over at 35. And I wanted to follow up and elaborate on components of that I think are very important, that I think are relatable, that I think at the end of the day, if you're watching this content, I tell people all the time, if you're watching my content, you're probably watching it because you're probably going through a similar phase in your life. So if it's helping me, I'm hoping that just talking about what I'm authentically going through will also help you. So with that being said, as you can see by the title of this video, the title is Relearning to Love Myself or Finding Self-Love. But it's really not finding it, it's almost like refinding it. So I'll just jump right into it. So one of the books that I'm rereading right now, where is it? It's actually right behind me by my on my nightstand because I literally read it before I go to bed. It's All About Love by Bell Hooks. And one of the main things that while I have learned it, I always forget this idea that love for me is a verb, is an action. And with that, it's also something that we choose on a day to day basis, right? Like, I know we like to romanticize love and have all these butterflies and feelings, but the reality of the situation is that, like, when you love someone, including yourself, you have to go and think about what does love look like to you? How do you like to receive love and how you like to give it, right? And so I think with that being said, because love is an action to me, it's very easy not to do those actions. That's just what it comes down to. So it's almost like a constant reminder of you have to love yourself, and I have to remind myself what are the ways in which I need to be loved, or any of those ways that I need to be loved, things that I can do for myself. And kind of just always remembering like who I want to pour into. And I think for me, when life happens, when I start to get really busy, it could just literally be as simple as getting really busy with life. Sometimes it is anxiety, sometimes it's depression, sometimes you're just like going through things. I know for like friends and family, a lot of the times, I don't have kids right now, which makes it a lot easier for me. But for a lot of people, other people, they're taking care of, their children. They may have husbands, they may have aging parents, they may have a lot going on. So, with that being said, it's very easy to care for everybody else and not to care for you. And I think with that being said, even when you have moments in your life where you feel like you're loving yourself and taking care of yourself, it's very, very hard to maintain. I will not lie to you. As an adult, it's very hard to maintain. And in this season, you know, I feel like I used to remind myself, I hate to say it, after a breakup, I used to always remind myself about how I needed to treat myself and pour into myself. But when life starts to happen, I very quickly forget that. And so I think the thing that has really been motivating me to put myself first has been the fact that I'm 35, which age, while it's not nothing but a number, I just can't believe how quickly time has flown by. And I can't believe how I let a lot of life happen to me. So with that being said, I think I just stopped loving myself a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I stopped showing up for me. And it was like in simple ways. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped eating healthy. I stopped I'm my best self when I'm on a very strict-ish routine and schedule. Um, I let go of my schedule. I stopped engaging in a lot of the hobbies that I used to engage in. I wasn't taking care of my hair, so my hair was falling out for a little bit. My skin was also acting up. That, to be fair, I was keeping up with, but again, stress and not getting sleep and anxiety was keeping me up at night. So my skin was doing horrible. And sometimes even when it's not like crazy periods in my life, like even today, I was just like, you know what, Denisha, you worked really late last night. You did a lot of work around the house this morning. Just relax. And then I had to tell myself, no, you love yourself. Treat yourself like you're loved. So I literally had to say, get up, find something in your closet that's gonna make you feel good, make you feel a little sexy, a little bit of comfortable. Do your hair, put on a little bit of makeup, and feel good about yourself today. Even if you're going to stay in the house, choose to feel good about yourself today, even if it's for an hour, right? Because the simple things like, I don't like my skin, but I also don't like to wear makeup. But sometimes it's like choose the less of the two evils. And less of the two evils for me is to wear makeup just to cover it up, just to look a little bit more presentable, right? But it's easier for me to be like, oh, I'm going to stay in the house all day and I want to nap. So, I don't want to do anything to myself. And I have to actively tell myself, absolutely not. You love yourself, so you have to care for yourself. And I feel bad for saying this, but the easiest way for me to remind myself of how I need to treat myself is I have to remind myself how I used to treat my ex. I know it sounds terrible, but it's true. I'm like, do you remember all the love, the care, the grace, the support, the kind words, the encouragement, just going out of your way to do stuff for like a significant other? And in your life, it may not be a significant other, it could be like a friend or family member, whoever. You need to do all those things to yourself. And every single time I remind myself that, boy, oh boy, oh boy, and I've been doing that a lot recently, it has been kicking me into gear, like literally kicking me into being like, you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And I think for a long time, I was very reluctant to not only encourage myself to have that mentality, but just to do it because I think as women, a lot of the times we get shamed for being selfish. Men don't get as much backlash as women do for being selfish. And I think part of self love is literally that is being selfish because you need to provide yourself with the time, the space, the energy to pour into yourself. And outside of people not liking that, it's just hard to admit that because I think I'm naturally a nurturer and I'm giving of people, but I'm just giving to everybody else. And it's just like very hard for me to like stop and say, you need to give to yourself first. Like I always have to remind myself, they tell you all the time in the plane, you put your mask on first before you put your mask on anybody else. And it's like, you have to remember that you need to be saving yourself first. You have to be putting you first because the reality of the situation is nobody else, I hate to say it, nobody else is going to do it for you. And that's a little bit of my hyper independence popping out there. I do have a hyper independence issue. That is a topic for a whole nother day. But for today, in terms of just loving and prioritizing myself, like I have to remember I need to be selfish and take time for myself. So, like, a major thing that I've been doing, which people do not, I know people don't like it. It's fine, I'll be the villain, but a major thing that I've been doing recently is either telling people no or just straight up ignoring people. Like, if it's not my problem, I'm not going to make it my problem. If I know that it's something that's like going to stress me out, or if it just does not align with my goals, if I don't have the time for it, if I don't have the energy for it, if literally people are out here asking me for help but haven't helped me with shit, like people asking for favors, people thinking I'm owing them something. No, no, absolutely not. Like I've been straight up saying no to everybody. Everybody has been getting a no or straight up been getting ignored. Absolutely not. Because you know why? I had to tell myself, I'm like, is me helping them aligning with my goals, aligning with my spirit? Is there something that I'm going to take out of it or get out of it, excuse me, that's going to be significantly better than where I started off? And the answer is no. So a lot of times I'm like, if it doesn't benefit me, I'm sorry, babe, you got to call somebody else, which I'm starting to learn and accept that that is going to rub people the wrong way. And I think as I am really leaning into my own validation of self, I'm getting more okay with not necessarily people getting angry, but I'm getting more okay with um it's like what Cardi B said in her new song. She was like, what did she say? I need to get back so bad. She's basically said, I can't worry about what these beeps feel about me. I can't, what how they feel about me is none of my business. That's what she said. That's genuinely how I feel. Like, whatever issues people got going on is not none of my business. And however they feel about me not making it my business is also none of my business. It got nothing to do with me. Boundaries. It is called boundaries. It is called boundaries and alignment, if I'm being honest with you, because 9 times out of 10, when people want something from you, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't benefit you, nor does it align with what you got going on. So I feel like part of me protecting my energy and my space is just saying no to the things that just don't align. That's just it. If I'm not interested, if it's gonna cause me strife, whatever the case may be, if it's gonna make me angry or frustrated, the answer is no. On the flip side, I will also say I'm saying yes to things that it was very hard for me to say yes to previously in the past. I've always wanted a big life. I have a very specific image in terms of what I want my career to look like, what I want my family dynamic to look like, what I eventually want my dream home to look like. Like, it's very specific and it's big. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have visions for myself that are bigger than what I have for myself now. And I think a lot of the times I was limited in myself because I was limiting myself to other people's wants and expectations of me and not my wants and expectations for myself. So, with that being said, because I want a big life, I'm saying yes to things that I previously either said no to or was on the fence on. So, one of the big things I'm saying yes to, and I was on the fence about this for a very long time, has been content creation. Content creation has been something that, like, the reason why I was on the fence about it for so long is in my previous career, I straight up could not do it. It wasn't allowed. And then in my second wind of my career in corporate America, and even now, I was like worried about what people would think about me, to be honest with you. And now I think it's maturity and like I think it just is maturity. I just don't give a fuck. I don't care at all what people think about me wanting to create content. Um Even me wanting to be an entrepreneur. Like, I just don't care about how people feel about me taking that risk at all, because guess what? That's, you know what, let me not go on a tangent. The reality of the situation is I'm doing what's best for me. So I'm saying yes to things that I would have not previously said yes to because I want a big life. The reality of the situation is I want to own my own company. I kind of have always wanted to some extent. Now that I'm forced to do content creation because I'm becoming an entrepreneur, I kind of always wanted to create content. I was playing around with it and dibbling and dabbling, if you've been following this channel for a while, for a long time now. And I just really didn't know what to post because, if I'm being honest with you, did I like and do I still like food content? Yes. But I was limiting myself to what I was posting and putting out there on the internet because I was so afraid of what other people would think if they like came across my content. You know, like food and doing recipes is very safe. Conversations like this and being vulnerable online, sometimes it's not, because people like to project and misinterpret the things that you say and do. And I don't know, it was a lot of judgment or me feeling judged, wanting to have a creative outlet and wanting to build a community based off of that. And now I'm just at the point where I'm just like, no, that's the life that I wanted. Like, I want to build a community online. Like, I feel comfortable talking to people online. It's fun. It's a creative outlet. Like, I like to give people glimpses of my life. You know, a lot of things I'm private about. Some things I'm just not private about. It is what it is. So I'm just kind of like, I'm saying yes to that. And guess what? If this provides me opportunities to take care of myself, to be able to invest in my business, to be able to give myself a bigger life, then why not do that? Like, it's just kind of like a no-brainer for me. Like, if this aligns with my goals, if it aligns with my goals, why would I not put myself out there? Just it's a no-brainer. Like, I should have been saying yes to this for a long time, but I think I just cared a lot about what mainly like my coworkers would think, to be honest with you. And now I'm just at the point where I'm like, I don't care. I want a bigger life. And part of it is just like, I want to be able to provide for myself. So why not do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I not do any and everything that I could with every single resource that I have on hand to give myself the life that I want? These people are not paying my bills. These people are not paying my bills. These people are not, like, nobody is going to take care of me the way that I need to take care of myself. I know that's a little hyper independence topic for another video, but to some extent it's true. The same people who sit around talking about you, laughing at you, judging you, whatever the case may be, let me tell you something. Those are people that just did not try. That's what it comes down to it. And it's funny to me because people like that, they're like these evil monitoring spirits. And like a lot of people now are parasocial. So a lot of people do have monitoring spirits, which is fine. I'm talking about the evil ones, the people that like talk shit all day online and just are negative and nasty. Let me tell you, you got those type of personalities. It's a personality trait. There'll be people making broke, or there'll be people making millions of dollars. Same hater energy. They just hate just to hate. And I'm like, why do I care about what any of those people think about me? I don't, like, again, they're not paying my bills. I don't want to interact with those people in real life, like in my day to day. I don't ever want to like hang out with them in real life. I don't want to be in their spaces. I don't want them in mine. I will tolerate them if I have to, but in real life, I actively mind my business and walk the other way. So I'm like, why do you care about those people? If anything, if they're talking about you and watching your stuff, please up my watch hours. Make my analytics better. If you're one of those people, just know your hate is also my support. I'm just saying. So, with that being said, it's like, it's okay. I'm telling myself this, that it's okay to want a bigger life. And it's okay to do the things that you need to do to make it to the next level. It is what it is. One of those things that I'm even saying yes to was the whole idea of starting over, if I'm being honest with you. Like, it's just very easy to stay on the path where you are. That's how a lot of people just get stuck. It's very easy to just stay being mediocre, which is fine. I was very content with my life, but that was not the life that I wanted for myself. So it's okay to say yes to things. I touched on this too as well in my other video, but I'm also saying yes to a lot of romance, you know? Like, I think part of loving myself is also to understanding what I want love to look like in a romantic sense. Like, what I want out of a partner, or what I want out of partnership, and then like allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to allow someone to actually like take care of me. That is also a part of loving myself. It's not only self love, but also to like allowing myself to rest with somebody that I feel safe with. That has been very hard for me, especially in recent years. That has been very hard for me, and I don't want to go on a tangent and talk about a different topic. That's why I really maybe I should have talked about it in this video, but I'm gonna save it for another video. It's become very hard to be honest with you. So like, especially for not only me, I have no premium on my suffering with this, but a lot of people have dealt with rejection, and what's worse than rejection is disappointment. It's disappointment from a person that you cared about. And I dealt with a lot of that, especially in a romantic sense. And I always, I hate to use the word regret, but I always look back on not even the money, but just the time and energy that I spent on other people, whether it was being with them, thinking about them, doing stuff for them, whatever. And I always say, like, where would you have been if you would have put all that time and energy and effort and all the things if you would have just put that into yourself, you know? And while that is true, because I have that mentality of always now prioritizing just like me, it's very hard to like let go. It's very hard to say like to just like allow someone to take certain burdens off of me because I don't want to be disappointed, you know? So I think one of the things that I'm actively working on is allowing, in this case, I date men. Maybe one day I'll date women. Who knows? But I'm just saying, for the purpose of this discussion, for me, it'll be men. For you, it's whoever you like to date. But I'm allowing men to show up for me in their authentic selves. And then I think it's up to me and my discernment to know if like that aligns with me and like what I want in a partner. But I'm allowing it to happen. I'm being very vulnerable in that sense, in terms of just allowing someone to take care of me without me having to like hold their hand. I don't want that. Like I don't want that. Like yes, you have to tell somebody how to treat you, but at the same time, like I don't want to be holding a grown man's hand and telling them, you know, simple things that they need to do to make me happy. I am hoping that I find a partner that wants to get to know me, who's thoughtful, who is kind and caring and observant. Because I think there's certain things about me, like I'm very bad at asking for help. And it'll be like simple things. And so I hope I get somebody who picks up on that. I'm hoping that they'll take in information about me and truly act on it. And I'm gonna allow them to the space to do that, right? Like part of loving myself is letting myself be loved by others. It's very hard for me to say it, and it's even harder for me to do it. But I'm genuinely being vulnerable in the fact that like I'm just gonna wait to allow it to happen. Anyways, let's see. Is there anything that I'm missing? I think just in general, like prioritizing myself. A part of it I touched upon this, but it really is sticking to a routine. Like it is making sure that I'm working out. That is the hardest one, but you have to make time for yourself to work out. Even if you can't make it to the gym, just being active is like so beneficial to me, like mentally, spiritually, physically, clearing out my space. I would love. When I make enough money, I would love to have a housekeeper come once or twice a month. It's been on my to-do list. I have not been able to do it for myself yet, but that is something that I would love because clearing out my space, I have learned really helps with my mood. Like when everything is super, like nothing in my house is ever dirty, but it's very easy for me to have my house and like space be messy. And I have really been telling myself that like your space impacts your mood. Does my space need to be perfect all the time? No, my space can be lived in. But with that being said, like I've been telling myself, even when you're tired, for your own mental health, take the 15-20 minutes to clear out a small space. Just start at a small space and just go from there. You don't have to burn yourself out, but making sure that like you're keeping up with tidying up has been really helpful to like me. Um Maintenance. I have to schedule in maintenance. And I will say like I have made my life a little bit easier because a lot of my maintenance nowadays I do at home. So I used to have a lot of appointments. I used to do like waxing, eyebrows. So I got into nails a little bit in my 20s, like nails and lashes, but quickly I got over it. But I used to have like nail appointments, hair appointments, all the things. I didn't like them, which is 90% of the reason why a lot of my maintenance is at home. But with that, because my maintenance is at home, it's easy for me to skip maintenance. So I have to treat my maintenance how I used to treat my maintenance when it's outside of the house. So I have to be like, oh, even on those days when you don't feel like deep conditioning your hair, you have to. A big one, which my eyes, I tell people all the time, like my eyes, they're the giver aware of my age. And I'm like, you know what? Take the 15-20 minutes, put the eye patches on. I don't really keep up with my mani and pedis, but like I'll schedule times, like literally Friday nights. There's like a 2 hour block. That 2 hour block, 1 hour typically is for like tidying up my space in the house or a space, whatever space it is. The other hour is doing something physically for myself. Typically it's going to the gym, but I've kind of cut that out because I want to make time to do my hair, give myself a facial, nails. And I'm not saying do all the things in the hour. I'm just saying do one or two things in the hour while you're watching a television show or while you're, doing that. Whatever it is you need to do it. Schedule the time. For me, it's Fridays. I have a 2 hour block. For me, it's Fridays afternoon. Sometimes it's Wednesdays, but I block time in my schedule to be like, it's time to take care of yourself, and you have to. You really, really have to. Like I recently, another thing that I do to take care of myself is I go to therapy. So I do have a scheduled time during the week to talk to someone and kind of set goals and plan out the things that I want for myself. But a large part of what we talk about in therapy is self care. And like she'll always hold me accountable and she'll be like, did you do your self care this week? And that's how I started to clock. Oh, like, no, I didn't really do much of anything. I really didn't. So, because I started to clock and take patterns of the fact that, like, oh, I was not taking care of myself, I literally scheduled time to take care of myself. Like, but because for me, and I think this is helpful for a lot of people, for me, I just work best on a routine. So I just put self care in my routine. So that way I don't forget. And again, it's never anything crazy, but it is something in the long run that's going to make me feel better. So I try to just stick to that routine and then go from there. Also, too, like, when it comes to self care, the last thing that I'll touch on, I'll probably need a part two because I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things that I do on the day to day, on my day to day basis. But I am having a little bit of brain fart. So I will play this back and like rethink of like all the things that I've been incorporating. But I will also say for my own self care and learning how to love myself, I am very intentional about the content that I take in. I say this to say I'm not gentle with myself. I really have been realizing that, like, no one can beat me up as badly as I've already beaten myself up, especially when I feel like I failed or I made a mistake. Trust me, I beat myself up way more than anyone else can. And even sometimes when it's just not warranted, I'm just very hard on myself. Like, I don't know why I'm so mean to myself sometimes, but sometimes I'm my own biggest bully. I'm not even gonna hold you. Um, and I think I mask a lot of that as holding myself accountable versus sometimes it's like, Denisha, you're just a bitch to yourself. That's just kind of what it comes down to. So, with that being said, um, I am really learning how to eliminate negative self talk. Even if I say something bad, I got this advice years ago from somebody saying, like, even if you acknowledge a negative trait about yourself or something that you're working on, end it with nonetheless and how you're going to fix it. So, for example, I can say, I haven't reached my fitness goals. Nonetheless, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating clean, I'm working on it, I'm being consistent. So I know eventually I'll hit the goals that I'm going to hit because I'm reaching it. So it's like small tweaks like that and like language. I think it's very helpful. Um and also too, like, it's okay to vent. Like, I'll vent about my frustrations, but I always try to end it with something positive because I just be beating myself up. I do. I beat myself up. Like, I don't look at myself the way that my friends look at me. And I think sometimes even trying that exercise, like pretending as if you were your friend, what are the things that you would say to yourself? How would you treat you? I think it's just very helpful because I think I'm very gentle, I think, with other people, or like mindful when it comes to other people. I'm just not that way at all with myself. And I think another thing that I do to help me be a little bit more gentle is, let me tell you something, comparison is a thief of joy. With that being said, even with me being a content creator, you have to be very careful about the content that you consume. I think the content that you consume, if you naturally are hypercritical of yourself, which I am, can really make you beat yourself up. So, like, for example, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm on all the threads and all the things. And, like, people will talk about their businesses overnight because they post all their highlights or like some AI slop that they put on there. But nonetheless, they'll just talk about these highlights and how their businesses, like, you know, blew up overnight. And I'm always like, Denisha, why isn't your business doing X, Y, Z, and the third? Could you be working harder? Is there something else that you can be doing? Like, I just keep going on and on and on and on and on. And I'm just like, ma'am, you know the output, you don't know the input. You don't know, outside of time, you don't know the resources that person had, which that's a big thing. Whether people want to admit it or not, entrepreneurship, it's resources. It's literally time and money. Pretty much those two things. So it's like you don't know the connections that that person had. You don't know anything about the inputs. They're only posting their outputs. And sometimes the outputs, people be capping. They just straight up be lying on the internet. So I always have to remind myself that, like, you cannot compare yourself to others because you don't know what sacrifices and things that they did behind the scenes to get to their next level. And so, with that being said, I had to tell myself, stop looking at the entrepreneurship content. Just take a break from it. I don't even look at it anymore. LinkedIn, oh my goodness, I'm about to turn off the notifications. They send me so many notifications. I don't want to see what's going on with nobody else's company. I don't want to see what's going on with nobody else's career. I don't even want to see it because I don't want to be tempted to compare myself to others. Like I will get very harsh and negative towards myself by doing that. Same difference too. Like sometimes it'll be like trash content, just like filler content, like things that people put online just to like waste time because you're bored. And I'm like, we can watch some of this, but we need to limit it. We need to limit it. The best advice that somebody gave me online was when you open up apps, especially something like a TikTok, where it's quick short form content that you don't really have to edit, before you watch, post. Before you watch, post, and that's it. And then when you start to watch, make sure you are on content that is going to feed your soul. Anything that's going to take away, I have to, which is very hard to do because you're fighting an algorithm. So a lot of the times I'm like, you have to stop watching certain videos. You have to stop interacting with certain videos, like the rage bait ones. Stop interacting with them. You have to change put something in the search bar that's gonna more align with like your day-to-day values and like your day-to-day goals. Like I have to remind myself to do that constantly because content on the internet can really steal some of your joy. I hate to say it, but it's true. Same difference, like people that blew up overnight on these apps, people who sometimes I think just look so perfect and pristine and all the other things. I have to remind myself, like, outside of the fact that they have teams, some of those people are just really good at editing. I like their photos. Some of those people, and it has been exposed more recently, they just be out here using AI. They straight up steal people's photos and like put their face on their photos and pretend like they're these luxury lifestyle content creators. I have to remind myself, like, listen, you are not like them, which is okay. You have your own lane. Like, not everybody's walking around and like Gucci, Louis, and all the things. And there's no hate on that. Like, it's fun to watch, but at the same time, like, I don't need to pretend like that's the lifestyle that I have to get followers. Like, absolutely not. I know and I truly believe that as long as I show up my authentic self, there's an audience out there for me, just like there's an audience out there for those people. And as long as I believe that and not compare my numbers to somebody else's numbers, also recognizing I really just started posting consistently like this past, 4 to 6 weeks. So like versus people who have been doing this for years, right? Like I really have to stop and tell myself that like everybody has their own lane, their own timeline. I already said it. Like I'm starting from square one, even though I may be older, I have more tenure. Like this, I'm starting fresh in this season, so it's like I cannot compare my day one to somebody's day 10. It makes no sense to do that. So it's like giving myself pep talks. I really have to like talk to myself every single day as if I'm my own friend, if that makes any sense. I just think it helps me be a lot gentler with myself. It keeps me in check. It keeps me aligned. Really, the reality check, I think, is the biggest thing because, listen, the internet is not real. It's a fake place. It's a fun place. To some extent, it is an authentic place, but to some extent, it is a fake place. There's pockets of it here, there, everywhere. With everything comes the good and the bad. So it's like you have to be a lot better at deciphering what's bad, and you have to also decipher, is watching and consuming a certain kind of content going to be good for my mental health? And if the answer is no, put in the options, not interested, block it, just don't watch it. So with that being said, I'm gonna keep this in this video here just to keep it short, but I really want to encourage you guys to keep loving yourself, keep doing what's best for yourself. Maybe share in the comments what you have been doing to really relearn how to love yourself. And with that, I will end it here. Please, if you like the content, please support me. I would love for you guys to not only like this video, but subscribe. And I will be back shortly with another. Have a good one, guys.